Welcome back to Bark and Skin. One more Hammock 101 video from this location since it is so beautiful. I think I've got one more in me. This one's going to be a quick tour of the hammock itself. So for those of you completely new to hammocking, the hammock is this bit. It, in this case, has external pocket that the whole thing folds into. This one's got an internal pocket. It's one of the reasons it's the cheap hammock that I recommend. Link in description. This is a gathered end hammock. So the mosquito net, which is built in and sewn and then zips, is gathered with the hammock fabric into two loops at the end. I'll bring you in for a closer look at all of this in a second. And then at each end of the hammock, we have the hammock suspension. They're thick nylon straps, generally called webbing, that I wrap around the trees, which keeps the tree trunks protected rather than having a thin bit of cord, which is going to cut into that trunk over time, especially holding all your weight, especially for a couple of days. The flat webbing goes on the tree trunk. Do make sure it stays flat, and that grips the tree without cutting into the bark. And we'll see that in a second as we look a little bit closer. Also today, I've got two ridge lines. This is my tarp ridge line. It's a completely independent line, not in any way attached to the hammock. I'll have a look at how that's set up in a second. And I've got the integrated tarp ridge line, which yours won't come with, but I'm going to show you how to install. And then what I would normally have, and I thought I'd show you this on camera, is just using a couple of little twigs off the ground. I'm going to take my hammock tarp. This is what would keep the wind, the rain, and the sun off me. And I'm going to go opposite corners. Yeah, it's a rectangular one. I'm going to attach each of those opposite corners to one of these two loops here by putting the loop through the corner of the tarp attachment point and the twig through the loop. We'll again come in closer with the camera to have a look at all of this. And then on the opposite corner, I'm going to do the same with the next of these two loops that I've attached on here and made myself. They're called prusik loops or prusik knots. There will be a video coming as soon as I'm somewhere with a clearer background. I'll make a video on how to tie the two knots that I recommend that you know how to do. You don't have to know them. There are other ways of doing this. I won't cover those on the channel. I'm asking you to learn two knots, and one of them is so simple it's ridiculous, and the other one I've made it as simple as possible. So the prusik is very simple. This is the prusik, and the what I'm calling the loop knot is the only other one I'm asking you to learn. So I would usually have this tarp just like tucked out of the way like that, and that's it. That's a quick guide to the hammock. The good thing about the structural ridge line, that's this black one that's attached to the hammock. You see if I pull it, the hammock moves. This one not attached to the hammock. It's actually a little bit loose. I'm undoing the fastening of the mosquito net here to show that when the mosquito net is up, and I put it over the black ridge line, not the red one, and zip it, the ridge line helps to suspend the hammock fabric off my base when I'm in the hammock. So I'm going to just zip that up and then grab the camera and bring you in for a closer look at it all. And hopefully this video could just orient you with the hammock before it arrives, or maybe you've got it just new in your paws there, getting all excited about it. And it's really helpful just to know which bits are which, what's called what. So hopefully for people who are really new to hammocks, this will be a useful video in that regard. For those of you who've seen a hammock and used a hammock before, I don't think there's going to be much here that's new to you. We'll go through the mods to this hammock in particular in more detail in a later video, as well as how to install them. So I'll be right back with the camera pointing the other way. All right, and here we are. So starting with the hammock, this is what I was talking about it being a gathered end hammock. So the fabric is gathered there between these two bits of webbing. It's the same material that the tree straps, tree huggers are made of. And these tree huggers go to the trees where they are flat all the way around. This isn't a tree hugger. This is a bit of cord. This is quite strong cord. It's called Dyneema, and it's stronger than paracord. You don't want to use a bit of kitchen string or garden twine for your tarp ridgeline. This is the tarp ridgeline. That goes across to here, where we see the other tree strap doing its thing. Different attachment on the suspension here. If you watch the Hammock 101, how to put up your new hammock, you'll see that I take one of the carabiners off the other end and put it on the tree strap instead, where it meets the tree, to make it quicker and easier to adjust and take up and put down. And you replace that carabiner with a bit of string here to give you some extra length and some extra adjustability. Again, this is Dyneema cord, the same as the tarp ridgeline. Inside the hammock, this is the hammock fabric, the exterior pocket that the whole thing packs away into. This is the mosquito net. If I was inside it, you can see that the interior ridgeline, this one here, is holding up that net, right? I'm keeping it off my face. As we unzip the hammock, I'll just give you a view of the suspension and things like that while the zip moving. And again, there'll be different types of models, but this is the one that I recommend for everyone to get. Great beginner hammock, and like I say in the channel intro, I've actually been living in this hammock, right? Living in it, using it as a lounge, an office, and a bedroom for free. And here's the integrated ridgeline. I've used a strong bit of string there called tarred bank line. It's not just simple nylon string, it's a bit more fancy. And that keeps things that I need in my hammock out of my face. So there's a torch there, my sunglasses suspended. But it also means that however tight I attach the hammock, this is going to keep the same angle. This banana angle, the exact angle of that smile, is what's comfortable for me. And with that structural ridgeline, it's going to keep that shape, whether I loosen it at this end, tighten it at this end, whether I've got it from trees that are really wide apart or trees that are quite close together. It's always going to look and feel the same. There's the internal pocket, which again is a good reason to get this one, as is the width of the hammock fabric available to you there, which helps you to sleep really comfortably diagonally, as well as lounge in it during the daytime. And as part of my structural ridgeline, the black one here, I've got different loops and attachments at each end so that I can hang stuff off the hammock easily, which is really handy for lights, little sound system, that kind of thing. Going back to the tarp ridgeline, I would like it to be a little bit tighter, but I'm not going to go to the whole bother of tightening it much more now. Just a little bit. There we go. Here there'll be a video shortly on the knots, but this is a loop-the-loop knot that I've used there, and the same with the hammock attachment point here. This bit of string that's tied with a loop-the-loop knot that'll hold my weight easily all night, and the tarp ridgeline will hold the tarp even when it's really heavy weather on that knot as well, which is why I recommend it. It's easy to do, easy to learn, and it works in both cases. And then this is the prusik loops. So this is a simple but very effective thing. You want your tarp to be over your hammock suspension there if it's raining at all, to save all this getting wet and potentially the fabric of your hammock getting wet. Yeah. But oh, my little stick fell out. This little stick we call a toggle. And it means that when you put the, really hard to do this one-handed, sorry, the tarp through the prusik knots or vice versa, yeah, you use the little stick, the toggle, to go through where my finger is. And that just blocks it from coming off, but only when it's tight. So that was when I was doing it loose is when it came off. And I'll show you at the other end with the Prusik knots what they do. So if you grab it by the knot, you can slide it along however tight it is. Yeah. But at the other end's not tightened at all. Let's try this end. Yep. So here, that's now gripped on the other end. The yellow knot has gripped the red string, and so is this red and white knot. Yeah, and it's staying as tight as it can be, as tight as I can pull it. Yeah, and then if I want to adjust it, instead of pulling it here, which just increases how much this yellow knot is gripping the red string, I just push it or move the knot here with my fingers. Yeah, and then I've got a little bit of space just to budge it a little bit this way. Maybe the wind direction's changed, the rain's changed, and I just need to move that tarp slightly. And that's what you're looking at. That's the basic, tour of a hammock. This is the smallest tarp you could get away with. The hammock's actually a little bit long for it, but it works for me with the light rain that I face here in Spain. And you could use an extra bit of cordage to tie this off to that tree over there to get it at whatever height you wanted. So if you want more of a view, you can have it up quite high and keep the rain off. If it's windy, then you can use a tent peg to have it quite low. If the wind and rain are really bad, I would actually lower the hammock. So I'd lower it using the tree straps so it's closer to the ground. And then I'd lower the tarp so it's just above the hammock. Because when I get into this hammock, there's going to be maybe a foot difference between the height of the tarp and the height of the hammock. Yeah. I put my weight on it. You can see the hammock moves down. The hammock ridge line moves down. So I could actually put this tarp lower to give more protection to the hammock. And then on this side, and these ones with the reflective on the inside, they have much less stealth, but they're really good at reflecting sun. So this one's a really good sunshade. This one here, there isn't a tree to tie it off to. So I would either get a long stick and put the stick here to the ground, and I'll show all this in a detailed video, and then use a tent peg to take a line down from the corner of the tarp and attach the stick to the floor. And here I could potentially tie it to one of these roots, as long as I was confident I wasn't going to damage it. Yeah, so that would be like this or like this. Or if it's only one side you need the protection from, then you can just sort of fold it under and have it be like that. So that's a quick tour of the hammock. These basically are the things that you need. This £14 on Temu. This came free with the other hammock that I don't rate as highly, which was I think £11 for the hammock with this tarp, and this tarp fits that hammock a little bit better. You see here, I could do with an extra that long on this end of this tarp, and the same on this end of this tarp. So it's 20 centimeters shorter than I'd like it to be. I think you could probably pick up a tarp on Temu or somewhere like that for £10 max. So for £25, euros or dollars, you can have the two main bits of gear there. And in terms of the lines, you could do this with paracord. Yeah, you could use paracord for this. That would be plenty strong enough. It's going to hold, because this is like a sail, it's got to hold, a bit of pressure when the wind comes really strong. Yeah, that line's got to hold that pressure. And the same with this line here. Depending on your weight, I think you could probably get away with paracord, especially if you're not spending loads of time in the hammock in really heavy winds. But I would recommend getting string that has a higher, can hold a greater weight, essentially. Because again, once the wind is on it, and if you jump in the hammock, it's all adding extra weight. These straps that come with the hammock are perfectly strong enough to do the job. And these carabiners that came with the hammock, I haven't had any complaints with. So those are the things that you need. These toggles you could probably find for free in the woods. But that's it. With that, you can have a system that you're out camping. If you've already got paracord, you don't need to buy it. And if you've already got a sleeping bag and a sleeping mat, then obviously you don't need to buy that either. If you are looking to go out and be places where you'd rather people didn't know you were there, and as you'll see as we walk away, this is less and less visible in terms of its colors and profile, the further we get. It's really that tarp that's making it visible. So if we were to take the tarp away, the hammock wouldn't be too visible. But if you are getting a tarp or anything like that, just think if you want to use it to camp in places where you're not supposed to, then maybe go with colors that are appropriate to that location. That's all. If you've liked the video, give it a like. If you want to see more like it, then give me a subscribe. If you want to share it with the friends, do so. And if you've got any questions, I'll answer them in the comments. Thanks for watching.